Just incredible. After almost 5 days here in the Masai Mara, we finally stumbled upon the site that so many visitors come here to see. This unbelievable site is continuing to unfold before our very eyes as hundreds and hundreds of these wildebeest and zebra alongside them make this daring crossing over the Sand River from Tanzania's Serengeti Plain into Kenya's Masai Mara. It's the dramatic climax of the annual wildebeest migration that so many visitors come to this part of East Africa to witness, and we're very lucky today to have stumbled upon such an enormous crossing and being able to see it firsthand. The sights and sounds kicking up dust as they cascade over the steep ridge of this Mara River tributary and galloping across the shallow water over to the safety and ample grazing pastures of the other side. It's a beautiful thing to witness, but it's also a very delicate operation. The slightest noise or commotion is enough to scare these timid creatures back across to the other side, and with good reason. Threats do exist, from crocodiles to big cats to other predators that may impede their crossing and take them down in the process. For that reason, strict rules need to be followed for those tourists who come here to observe this operation in progress. First things first, silence is key. Loud engine noises or even the sound of human voices is enough to scare these animals back across. So quiet needs to be maintained. The other rule, of course, is that no observers are allowed outside of the vehicles so that their movements on the riverbank don't scare these animals away from making this vital crossing in order to reach the rich grazing pastures of Kenya's Masai Mara. Luckily enough, we are the only vehicle here observing this particular crossing, but in many parts of the Masai Mara ecosystem, large groups of vehicles carrying tourists can be seen crowding around crossing points, sometimes to the detriment of the natural progress of this crossing phenomenon. In years past, when the numbers of tourists in the Masai Mara were greater, these large concentrations of vehicles watching these crossing points often proved to be too much for the wildebeest to handle and scared many groups away from making the crossing at that time. Luckily, things here are quiet now. There are no crocodiles in this particular stretch of river, and many of these wildebeest have already crossed successfully to the other side. But even the slightest noise or commotion is enough to scare them back across to wait for another opportunity.